When you think of Ramadan, the first thing that probably comes to mind is fasting, right? But there's so much more going on beneath the surface. It's really this month-long, deep conversation with God. And that's what we're going to dive into. The spiritual heart of the month, this amazing tradition of supplication, or prayer, that really makes it what it is.
And this quote, wow, it really sets the stage. It's from a famous sermon by the Prophet Muhammad, and it's not just a hello, it's a huge announcement. He's essentially saying, hey everyone, stop what you're doing. This isn't just another month on the calendar. This is something special, a spiritual season that's just brimming with blessings.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with why this month is so full of mercy. Then we'll get into the rhythm of prayer itself. We'll look at the art of supplication, how it's not just for you but for everyone, and we'll wrap up with the really intense, sacred final nights.
Okay, first up, a month of mercy. You know, to really get the prayers, you first have to understand the vibe of the whole month. It's like the spiritual atmosphere is just different. The belief is that the distance between us and the divine just shrinks. You know, that connection feels so much stronger, so much more immediate.
And this is where things get really wild. It completely flips your idea of everyday life on its head. During Ramadan, suddenly everything you do gets elevated. I mean, think about it. Even just breathing or the sleep you get is considered a form of worship. It's like you're an honored guest of God, and because of that, your prayers, they're believed to have a direct line to being heard.
But, and this is super important, all of that spiritual energy isn't just for you to keep bottled up inside. The whole point is to channel it outwards. This deep connection to God is meant to directly fuel a deeper connection to other people. It's all about remembering the hungry, honoring your elders, being kind, and, just watching what you say.
So that's the atmosphere. But how do you actually live it? How does it become part of your day? Well, that's where the rhythm of prayer comes in. It's not just some abstract idea, it's a very real, structured practice of devotion that gives the entire month this incredible pulse, this beat.
So there's this really clear framework for it all. You've got your prayers for those big key moments, then you have specific prayers for every single night. And on top of that, prayers for every single day. Put them all together, and you get this amazing constant rhythm of connection and remembrance.
All right, let's start with those key moments. The very first one, right at the beginning of the month, is so important because it sets the intention for everything else to come. So the moment that new crescent moon appears in the sky, a specific prayer is said. And it's basically like a mission statement for the next 30 days. You're asking for the big spiritual things like faith, but also for stuff we all need: peace, safety, security. It covers everything.
And from there, the daily rhythm kicks in. We're talking about 30 different prayers, a unique one for each day of the month. So it's not just repeating the same thing over and over. It's designed to feel like a journey, You're moving forward, one day, one prayer at a time.
And you can really see that journey in the themes of the prayers themselves. Like on day 1, it's all about looking inward, asking for sincerity in your fast. Fast forward to day 8, and the focus shifts outward to mercy for orphans and feeding the hungry. Then by day 20, you're looking upward, asking for the gates of heaven to swing open. It's like a complete spiritual curriculum packed into a month. Okay, so this brings up a really good question. We've talked about what people pray for, but what about how they pray? Is there a right way to do it? Well, that's what this next part is all about, the art of supplication. It's all about the right mindset for having this very personal talk with God.
Yeah, it's definitely not just about saying the words. The tradition says there's a certain way to be, a specific state of your heart that really makes the prayer land, makes it more powerful.
There's this one nightly prayer. It's called Dua al-Iftitah, which means the supplication of the opening, and it's basically a perfect guide. It teaches you the etiquette. Rule number 1, don't just jump in with your list of wants. Start with praise. Rule number 2, find that balance between being hopeful for God's mercy and also, having a healthy awe of His justice. And always, always acknowledge how generous He is.
And listen to this line from that prayer. It's just so raw and honest. The person praying is admitting, hey, I mess up. You call me and I walk the other way. But then they say that none of that stops God from being merciful. It paints this picture of a relationship where God's love is this constant, unshakable thing, even when we're human and flawed.
But that super personal one-on-one connection, that's not the whole picture. Prayer in Ramadan is also huge on community. And that brings us to our next section, a prayer for humanity.
Right.
So the big idea here is that prayer isn't supposed to be some kind of selfish wish list. The tradition is really clear. You need to take that spiritual focus and point it outwards, thinking about your community and even bigger, about all of humanity.
Actually, praying for other people is seen as, like, top-tier etiquette. It's a selfless thing to do, right? It takes the spotlight off of me and shines it on we. It's this incredible act of empathy.
And just look at what one of the nightly prayers asks for. It's not small stuff. It's a prayer for everyone. For every poor person to have what they need. For every hungry person to be fed. For every prisoner to be released. Every sick person to be cured. It's this beautiful bridge between a very personal, spiritual moment and these huge, universal human needs.
So as the month goes on, everything gets more and more intense, and it all builds up to this incredible peak in the last 10 nights. This is the grand finale, the culmination of everything we've been talking about. The final sacred nights.
You can really feel the urgency in the air during these last nights. It's this sense that this special window of opportunity, all these blessings, is about to close. And it creates this beautiful, almost desperate feeling of wanting to grab every last second to make sure your prayers for forgiveness have really been heard.
And this prayer from the last 10 nights just captures that feeling so perfectly. There's no beating around the bush. It's a direct, from-the-heart plea that says, hey, time is running out. I'm asking for salvation, for mercy.
At the end of the day, that's what it all boils down to. The big ask is for a total spiritual reset. The hope is to walk out of Ramadan completely forgiven, with a totally clean slate, feeling like you didn't let this incredible chance for mercy just slip through your fingers.
So what we've seen is this incredible month-long system of prayer, right? It weaves together personal reflection with prayers for the whole world. It balances quiet hope with this really powerful urgency. And it kind of leaves you with this big question. What does a devoted practice like this, one that's been around for centuries, tell us about our own search for meaning, about that universal human need for connection, for forgiveness, and for a second chance?